All right. Welcome to the Texas League podcast. This is week 8 of the season. We are a duo today, but as we always like to start things, Jared, how we kicking off this week?
Uh, I have a two-part question. The two parts might actually they actually work together. We're what is this week? We've been through 7 weeks, so we're in week 8 right now. So we're about halfway through the regular season. Or I guess last week would have been the halfway point for the people who have 14 weeks like us. At what point, how many games do a player that you drafted early have to disappoint you before you're ready to get rid of them? And if you're right now, if your record's 2-5, 1-6, maybe 0-7, I don't know anybody that bad. At what point do you say it's time for a fire sale and look forward to next year?
Okay, so my caveat is assuming this is a dynasty or some version of a keeper
Yeah,
league, right?
yeah,
Because in a non-keeper league, sell-offs don't mean anything,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like you
Redraft, they
you
don't
you
mean that.
die. Yeah, you die with what you rolled in with, and you only make the moves that you need to make for this year, even no matter to the very end. Because I'm not a fan of, I know if you're in the upper echelon of the league, you probably try to grab somebody off of a team that's not performing very well. But again, with the assumption that this is a keeper league,
Keeper
I'm
League,
probably
Dynasty.
I'm probably not giving up my early picks because I want to see what their worth is all the way through the end of the season for potential keeping. If I felt good enough about them to draft them high, that means I see some value. And the good part about, dynasty keeper leagues is that you can measure success and potential a little bit longer. So if it's my first or second rounder, I'm probably keeping them all the way through the end of the season, unless somebody offers me equal value for where I drafted them for that player. So if I drafted a first rounder this year and you offer me a first rounder next year, then I'm willing to give it up. Other than that, probably not.
Hmm?
What's part two?
Well, part two is, I guess I mentioned it, you might have missed it. Part two is,
Oh,
so we're talking about players. If your team is a couple games out of five, oh, well, from 500, like I said, 0-7, 1-6, 2-5, maybe 3-4, and you don't see yourself making the playoffs, do you have that fire sale, or do you, like you just said, hey, if I got some players and I want to hold them, how do you feel about letting, like, maybe not the people at the top, but like if you got some people in your
oh
team that
yeah.
you know you got
Oh yeah,
trade
I'll make a
value?
move. Yeah, I'll
You
make
know,
a move because if I'm not making the playoffs this year, I got to start thinking, okay, what am I going to do to put myself in a better position next year? And the best way to do that, of course, is usually with picks. In keeper leagues, picks become more valuable in the later rounds because I mean, let's just be honest. Like if you got a 12 team keeper league, right? Y'all keeping two apiece. That's 24 of the top players off the rip that's going to be gone. So it's going to be rare for you to get a really upper echelon player in, let's say, the fourth round of the act, whatever fourth or third round is of actual picks, right? But if you have a couple of extra picks in the third or fourth round, it gives you flexibility with strategy, right? So, for those of us who like to draft QBs late, for example, it gives you a little bit of flexibility on like I can scoop up an extra position player. Um, I can scoop up instead of PPR league, I can scoop up somebody that I know that's going to get a lot of high targets. That not necessarily be a high touchdown score, but looking at it from a point value standpoint, I can scoop somebody up I know that's going to get targeted a lot. And then that still allows me to push that QB pick a little bit later. Or even if you're one of those no running back people, same thing. It gives you a little bit more room to do things later on in the draft. It just lets you stick to your preferred strategy and technique on building your team.
me, I have I am not objected to a fire sale. I've had one before, scooped up some extra picks. Didn't do me any, well, I'm not gonna say it didn't do me any good. It got me in the second place.
I mean, that's not a bad look at all. You know what I'm saying?
Like I had extra picks, and Then that team got me to second place. You know,
I mean, it's
I was
like
gonna try to
Giannis
slide
said.
Christian McCaffrey in the second round, but
It's like Giannis said, man. It's not a failure. Like you can't look at things as a zero-sum game.
yeah,
Like making it to the champion means if you came in second place, that means you made it to the championship game. That means you beat 10 other teams that didn't even get there. So it's not a bad season. But speaking of trades, let's talk about one that we didn't get a chance to discuss a couple of weeks ago because we were on hiatus, but one that immediately paid off for the Cincinnati Bengals. Pretty boy Joe Flacco went to Cincinnati and solved a very easy problem, which is when you're not winning and you have Jamar Chase, target him 97 times. What you think, Jared?
uh, that is about what he did. I saw, if I'm not mistaken, Jamar Chase was Offensive Player of the Week with 16 receptions. Basically, when in doubt, throw it to Jamar Chase.
I mean, you also really got to love the Pittsburgh Steelers strategy of still somehow, some way, letting him go unmarked and unguarded late in the game. You gotta
Oh,
love that. Like you gotta love the defensive call that allows Jamar Chase to just go take a 10-yard out and just drag all the way across the field by himself with nobody within 15 yards when you're trying to hold late to a very slim lead. Like, hey, you gotta love it.
hey, a lot of people do this silly foolishness. Don't forget that he did the same thing to the Ravens last year, and fantasy owners everywhere rejoiced. And I believe it was on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah. Yeah, good
So
old Flacco out here getting his what was my boy's name? He used to play for the Bucks. Ryan Fitzmagic. He out here getting his Fitzmagic on.
yeah,
Uh,
here having the AARP Bowl.
right. So, but this is exactly what Mike Tomlin saw when when that trade was made. Mike Tomlin
Uh,
knew, and it's almost kind of a screw you from the Browns to Mike Tomlin. They literally traded him right before the Steelers had to deal with him. So, shout out to Mike Tomlin. You can
oh,
say what you want about him, but
the
the man knows ball,
the
and he
best
saw
part
it.
is they checked the schedule before they did it. Think about it.
Mhm.
Cincinnati played Cleveland week 1, and then they don't play them again until week 17. They're like, hey, we by this point we're already out of contention, so we ain't got to worry about it. They're like, oh, y'all ain't
Right,
sweet.
right, right. All right. Well, let's jump right into reviewing week 7. So as I pointed out, uh we didn't meet, or should I say we didn't have a show last week due to me traveling to the Tennessee State University homecoming. You can see me representing the Big Blue right here, where we were victorious against the Howard University Bison. So shout out to Howard anyway, HBCU love forever and always. But now that we're back, let's jump right in. Let's start with our defending champion who faced off against Haywood Hernandez. Jared, your cousin took a slight L this game. What was his downfall?
Uh, I'm gonna say it starts with Matthew Stafford. With I came back from church, I'm like, how Matthew Stafford got 182 yards and 5 touchdowns? Would you do? Run the ball down the field and say, "Oh, we about to 20 touchdown." There's that, along with Trey McBride with 2 receiving touchdowns. He didn't have but 2 all last year. You got 2 in one game. What is going on here? And Quishon Judkins decides to say, you know what? Miami is just like Oprah. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. So they said, hey, he got him a couple. He got 3 touchdowns. So it was just not a like Memphis's team went off. And I would just like to say thank you for going off in week 7, not week 6 when I played you.
Absolutely. So this was a game that only our do we I believe only our only our co-host called this one correctly because we both like Super Mario Crystal Ballin's matchups a little bit better. But yeah, McBride and Judkins, even Jalen Warren in a losing effort they let the drummer get some for Jalen Warren. So shout out to Hangman Hernandez, who gets his second win of the season, moving to 2-5. We had what we thought was going to be the closest matchup of the week, Eggcorn versus Muff Divers. Uh, Turned out to not be as close as we thought it would, as Eggcorn walked away with the easy victory. JSN in a great game, and Keenan Allen in a throwback great game versus the Colts.
Let
So
us not
yeah,
forget Jamar Chase down there that we talked
Jamar
about
Chase.
earlier.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, Jamar Chase. I think, what did he have? 23 targets, I believe. I think it was 23 targets
It
that he
was.
had. Yeah, 23 targets, 16 of those receptions, 161 and one. And the crazy part about it is that I know we're not talking about Justin Jefferson yet, but Justin Jefferson still 0 touchdowns on the year. So still one of the top receivers in the game. And of course, CD Lamb, in his first game back since being injured, immediately showed his impact as the Cowboys blew out the Commanders. Uh, yeah, so shout out to Ed Corn, who holds a tight grip onto that current last playoff position, and who for the first time this season moves Buff Divers out of playoff position early in the year. Um, Now this is the one that kind of had us all tight. Uh, Big Green, as you know, through the first few games of the season, we were picking against Big Green, and then we all had the rule of, well, you don't pick against the Big Green until she loses. And so we were all feeling kind of shaky about this game, as Big Green had the lead going into Monday. Uh, but Kirkwood and the best mistake he ever made, Christian McCaffrey, that helped him win his championship a couple years ago, completely went off on ATL, getting 35 points and hitting Kirkwood the come from behind victory. Pause. Uh,
And the
and
thing is this.
yeah.
I just want you to look at something. Her
Uh,
quarterback is Mac Jones.
oh, who did she have on the bench?
No, it's not about who's on
Oh,
the
okay.
bench.
Okay. Oh,
McCaffrey
yeah.
has now if you take one of them touchdowns and turn it
Make
into a
it a
passing
passing
touchdown,
touchdown.
because she
Yeah,
lost by what 13. If
yeah.
you turn those, he had two rushing touchdowns. If you turn those into passing touchdowns, uh,
Could go the other way.
could have went. It would have been much. It would have been a. It was already a tight game, but she might have pulled it out. But
Right, right.
plus somebody on her bench might have actually made a difference. I don't know who's down there.
Uh,
If any, I
who did
doubt.
she have it? No, actually, Ferguson outscored. Yeah, Ferguson outs. Well, oh, well, no, I still wouldn't have got her enough points. It would have been 10 more points had she thrown Theo in there and went double tight end this weekend one more time
Yeah.
instead of Chuba. But no moral victories here. Travis Hunter with his first 100-yard receiving and uh first professional touchdown, going off in a losing effort over there across the pond on Sunday morning football from England. But you know, kind of showing. And the thing about that was, I believe he played his fewest defensive snaps of the season in that game. So showing us glimpses of what he can do if he became a full-time receiver, which, as the Jaguars are struggling right now, uh, and still have a shot to try to do some things this season. I think we're going to see a whole lot more Travis Hunter only on one side of the ball as we continue with our season. All right. So the three hosts all had our games this weekend as well. Well, Jared, since he's not here, break down Mathis King's game for us.
Uh, as I said in the group chat earlier, to now he's changed his name from Bench Burrow and Deal to Rogers Last Ride. I
Yes, he
understand
did.
why. I see that. Basically, he said that we like to pick against him. He just, like I said, I'll say the same thing I said in there. I thought the AARP Bowl was going to be the Steelers grinding it out.
Yeah,
Jalen Warren had a good game. I thought they were just going to run the ball between
yeah,
him and Caleb Johnson, throw the ball to the tight end a little bit, drain the clock, get out of there. Nope, they decided to have a shootout.
yeah.
They wanted to pretend like they were 25 years old. Not it was not the year was 2025, and so they here having a shootout. And Aaron Rodgers goes up for had 34, almost 35. You know, it just he
The crazy thing, the
Zach
crazy thing
Charbonnet went
is,
for
yeah.
18.
So the crazy thing is, going into the last Monday night game, uh, Rogers' last ride had Zach Charbonnet. Mathis King had both Cooper Kupp and Nick Chubb. So there was an outside chance of him being able to pull out the victory, because it was a closer game. It's a pretty close game at that point, but Cooper Kupp in a win and Nick Chubb in a loss, neither one of them did anything. And here's to me the surprising stat of the week. The Chiefs put up 31 points on the Raiders, and Travis Kelce had 6.9. Like you would have think, and usually in a game like that, Kelce scores and gives
He
his
does, but
fantasy owners a better chance. But
Mr. Six
let me
Week
see.
suspension came back
Yeah, he did, and he
because
had a great game.
he was on my cousin's team and helped him keep it close or close to
Yeah,
Jace, but obviously not close enough to win. But yeah,
yeah, not a lot of flex on the bench that would have thrown anything, made it look differently. But shout out to Rogers' last ride. Going to make us think about it this week as he moves into playoff position. Team Fight Me Back versus Two Boobs, Two Balls, One Goal. We all agreed on this game by my co-host. I did not see it being this bad. Now, surprisingly, right? I thought that, and again, this is just one of those things, right? If Detroit scores 24 points, you expect a better showing from Jared Goff than 12 points. You even with and this is to me is the craziest piece of it. Two zeros from your team, and you still won by damn near 35 points. That's when your team just didn't show up this week, with the exception of AJ Brown and the Cowboys kicker. Uh, like I'm just trying to look at the bench real quick to see was there anything he could have done. Oh, he did have Olave, which would have made it interesting, but it just would have made the loss a little less stinging. And then for the second time this season, Shannon Stater wins high score of the week.
boo this man.
Well, go ahead, Jared. Since you want to boo a brother.
Basically, you were talking about how did the Lions score 24 and Jared Goff didn't do anything? I don't know because we decided because there are certain things in football that just don't matter what level it is, it always reigns true. And in this case, with Jahmyr Gibbs being the fastest man on the field, if you miss the tackle, he gone.
Out of there.
And he broke one for 73. I'm like, they ain't gonna catch him.
They weren't
And
gonna catch him at 15.
and then the Giants did what the Giants did, which is just let the Broncos come back because they had a nice lead, and then all of a sudden, Bo Nix and them said, "Are we losing to the Giants for real? No, we can't do that." And then they just decided to get their lives together. He had 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. He's like, "I got it." Then the Giants kicker missed a couple extra points, which would have snuck him out of W. But it is what it is.
Yeah, that was crazy. That man scored 4 touchdowns in a quarter. In the game I think at that point it was what, 24 nothing or something like
Do me,
that.
do me go check his bench because, like me, he got 2 zeros. But I don't know if there's anybody down there would have gave him any points.
Let's see.
He had to make up 30 points. I don't think he had that.
He had Woody Marks that he could have put in there in the slot
No,
in the
no.
flex, but not really. Yeah, you would expect George Kittle to do something in that game, but that game was all running the ball. It was all ground and pound in that game versus ATL. So Kittle was blocking his ass off, but that doesn't help you for if you're a fantasy owner. But my big thing was shout out to Devonta Smith. Uh, and actually, listen here. Let me throw this out here, Eagles, real quick before we move on to our week 8 picks. You're overcorrecting on the run game, okay? I know everybody was like, "Oh, they need to throw the ball." Fine. Okay, let's find some balance because through the first 4 games of the season, it was all run. These last 3 games have been all pass. How about we balance this thing out? Because as a Saquon Barkley fantasy owner, you're killing me, Smalls.
But you got
Okay?
you got Devonta Smith. The two of them combined for 35 points. You fine.
No, no.
Did
I
you
need
win this
Devon.
week?
I did, but I'm
Did you
thinking
get the
about
did you
next
get the
week.
high score?
I'm thinking about next week
Stop
because
being greedy. Stop being
Devonta
greedy.
Smith's Devonta Smith 30 points is not to be expected. Saquon Barkley 18 points, Devonta Smith 12 points. That is something that I can believe in consistency of. But if I need my 2 Eagles to rely on Devonta getting 30 to get me my 30-point average, that's a problem. So I need this thing balanced out. That's all a brother saying, man.
I understand. I get it. I'm just saying.
All right. So after that, and the really cool thing is we actually all had another really good week. If Mathis King would have won, Mathis King would have gone 6-0 for the second time this week, and Jared and I both would have gone 5-1. But if ifs and buts were candies and nuts and all that fun stuff going to Halloween, alas, we went 5-1, 4-2, 4-2. So all of us on the positive side of things, which keeps us all currently in our first, second, and third place positions as we go into our week 8 picks. So we're going to do these really fast this week. Oh, hell. Let's start here. Since it's me versus your cousin, me versus the defending champion, Jared, who you like?
Uh, I'm going with my cousin because I don't. There's just some matchups that are look real good. B. John Robinson versus Miami, trash. We just saw Keyshawn, we just saw Judkins go off on them,
Yes,
and
he
we know
did.
and B.
Three
John Robinson
touchdowns.
is a better. Joe Flacco versus the Jets. That defense is but they're still the Jets. They have a lot of turnovers, which leads me to think it's going to be a lot of short slant routes to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and
Right.
Rasheed Rice is just going to pick up where he picked up where he left off last week, scoring points. And Cortland Sutton versus a suspect Dallas defense. And I do believe the Eagles run the ball more this time against the Giants. But my biggest concern is Dak and George Pickens. Dallas has been slinging the ball. That's what they do because their run game it's all right, but I don't think it's great. I think Denver has enough of a defense to slow them down. So I think my cousin pulls this one out. That's where I am with it.
That's fair enough. I'm officially not picking against myself. But my thing is, I think this is going to be kind of like the game against Washington was. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. 30 plus points for both teams, where basically the last person who has the ball is going to end up being the winner in this one. So I like our chances. Saquon, after coming off of a game a couple of weeks ago where the Giants really shut him down, this is what I'm hoping. 2 weeks ago, the Giants held Saquon to 58 yards, 7 points, and gave the Eagles their first loss of the season. If you think that Saquon doesn't have that Pooh Shiesty get it back in blood playing in his head this whole week, you crazy. So I think we're gonna be all right this week. So
Shall see.
indeed we shall. So now let us go to Team Fight Me Back versus the Big Green, aka the Bye Week Bowl.
You can say that again.
I don't think I've seen anyone with an 80-point projection that wasn't a fully stacked roster But currently, we got some bye week decisions. So let's see who she got at wide receiver down here. She's got Zay Flowers, who it looks like may have Lamar Jackson back this week. Um, who was limited in practice today, but I'm pretty sure that was precautionary. If Lamar Jackson is practicing, Lamar Jackson's probably playing because if he's not playing, what's the point? You can work him out besides that, but I do not think that
Yeah.
that's going to be enough,
No.
'cause especially considering that Mac Jones is not. Brock Purdy should be back, but her choices are Brock Purdy or Tua, who somehow still has his starting job, but neither one of those quarterbacks is going to be enough to overcome. So I like Team Fight Me back this week.
Yeah. I'm gonna need Drake May to. I'm gonna need Drake May to just do his thing. He been looking real. He been looking real like he. Usually they talk about second year quarterbacks having a slump. He has been playing pretty well.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. All right. Go into our third co-host game. Two boobs, two balls, one goal versus Mathis King. Who you like, Jared?
Oh, two boobs, two balls, one goal usually has. Anytime you got Josh Allen, I think you're in any matchup. I do not feel that way this week, though. Washington's defense, not great. They've lost some pass rushers for the year due to injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Lamar Jackson is back, Derrick Henry, they're gonna feed him the ball. Sterling Shepard, who the hell else we gonna pass the ball to?
I was gonna say Evans out for the season, and
Godwin's already been get
Godwin's ruled
Evans
out
got
for Sunday. Yeah,
Evans got a broken clavicle. Godwin's ruled out. Bucky Irvin's ruled out. So that means our receivers are going to be Tez Johnson, Emeka Ibuka, and Sterling Shepard. Oh yeah, and Kate Otten. And Sterling Shepard and Baker went to Oklahoma together. Throw him the ball.
yeah. Target him 23 times. See how
I
that
don't
works out for you.
for real. Like I just like Mathis King's matchups this week. You know, the thing.
Yeah,
And now, mind you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Isaiah Pacheco. You throw him a touchdown, they both get points. But I think that, as they say, it comes back to the median, and Travis Kelce gets a touchdown this week, and Justin Jefferson on Thursday Night Football probably goes off against the Chargers. I'm going with Mathis King.
I agree. I think Justin Jefferson finally gets that first touchdown of the season. Not just saying that because Dr. Deuce isn't here and the Chargers are his favorite team, but they can be scored on, as we saw last week. So I agree. I'm gonna go Mathis King in this one. All right. Rogers last ride versus Edcorn. Both of these teams coming off
Oh,
of big
easy.
wins last week.
This is an easy one for me. Pure petty factor. I'm going with Rogers last ride. Who is Pittsburgh playing this week?
Oh
Tell
yeah.
me, tell me he's not about to come out and try to torch their defense. What? He trying to come out and prove a point.
But here's the problem.
Plus, I don't think C.J. Stroud and that Texans offense is that good.
I'm going with Rogers last ride. Less about Rogers going off and more about CJ Stroud's inability to go off. The Texans have a lot of problems on the offensive side of the ball.
Oh, I forgot about Jamar Chase over there. I might have to rethink this one. Damn, Jamar Chase over there. No,
Yeah, I mean, I think that Jamar Chase is going to be I think that Jamar Chase and Cade Otton are the only reason why they're going to be in this, right? But I do like Rogers' last ride just a little bit better this week. Just a little bit better.
Yeah, because you got that Josh Jacobs always seems to he seems to always
Carolina's not good. I know Cook hasn't really been lighting up the scoreboard, but
Carolina's
I think a defense like Carolina's is just the thing he's been waiting to see. And then you do have if Rodgers does do anything, you've got your Rodgers Metcalf stack. So, I mean, I think that's going to be your deciding factor right there. All right. Company man versus Hangwood Hernandez. Again, we got some people that need to swap roster positions due to the bye week. So let's see who we got down here at quarterback. Oh, we got our first real quarterback dilemma of the season because Hangwood Hernandez has no QB.
Well,
And I don't really know who's out there on the waiver wire. Well, let's just take a quick glance real quick.
take a look. I don't know who's out there.
Let's just take a quick glance. Who's out there at QB on the waiver wire? I mean, if they're on the waiver wire at this point in the season, it's not going to be a lot of faith. So, Penix, Mariota, Rattler.
Marcus Mariota is starting this week. So is
Yeah,
Andy
he is.
Dalton.
Yes, they both are.
Cam Ward's technically a starter. Dylan Gabriel's a starter. Spencer Rattler's. Those are all
there's-
starters there.
Carson Wentz is also a starter. So
Tyrod Taylor is he start? Is he starting too? They started.
I don't think they made it official yet, but that is the assumption. So Angel Hernandez has some options on QB, and none of them is going to be Matthew Stafford level replacement. Roma Dunze, I think he's got to get in your lineup somewhere if he can. I would definitely swap Rome out for Nico.
He had a concussion in that game. Is he playing? I'm not sure if he's playing this week.
That's a good question. Not sure. But yeah. All right. Either way, I'm gonna go with company man.
As am I. I think this is company man's time, as they say, to get off the snide because his team has been producing. He just
catching some bad matchups. I mean, hey, it was again last week he would have beaten 9 other teams. Mm-hmm. There's only 2 teams he wouldn't have beaten last week, and he happened to face off against one of them.
The struggle is real.
I'm not sad about being one of the teams that could beat him last week since I actually faced him. But hey, good luck this week. And then in our last matchup of the week, we have Kirkwood versus a topsy-turvy season for our man Muff Divers. So making the assumption that Lamar Jackson is going to play this week, who do you like in this matchup?
If Lamar Jackson plays, I'm going with Muff Divers because I think Lamar is ready to come out and prove that he's still that guy. Because he looked, he had his games were all right. I don't think he just had that Lamar Jackson game yet.
Right.
They won in 5. He want to come out and try to get things turned around since they went in the player. They went in the players' locker room, took away. I read somebody took away
everything.
Video games.
Took everything out. Video games, ping pong table, what is it? Cornhole board, karaoke machine, popcorn maker.
Not the popcorn maker. How dare you?
Yeah. Dance Revolution, everything.
They took out the DDR? Just disrespectful.
They took it all up out of there. So, yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Like I said, I think this is going to be a Saquon Barkley game against the Giants, which is going to limit Jalen Hurts. Rachaad White is getting the start against a weak New Orleans team. I already told you. I think
our running game went off on them. Our running game went off on New Orleans last year.
That's what I'm saying. I think CeeDee Lamb continues his return from injury to go off. So yeah,
I'm gonna say this. I don't think CeeDee Lamb goes off. I think he gets the Patrick Surtain treatment and Pickens goes off. Now I don't think.
Well, that works for me.
That works for you, but
yes, it does.
I don't think CeeDee. I think CeeDee has a good game. I don't think he just goes crazy like.
Well, with Devontae Adams sitting out, I don't know. Maybe he might want to throw Jerry Jeudy in there. Who knows? It ain't that kind of hard times out there for CD though.
I don't think he's just gonna fall off the map. I just think he don't have like one of them huge games that he's had.
Yeah,
like he had last week.
All right, but we both still believe in Muff Divers, so we will get the picks from our third co-host who was surprisingly became unavailable right before we started recording. So everything's all right. Shout out to Dr. Deuce. All right. we have a request this week for a roster review. So let's take a look at that. All right, Jared, this request came through you, so break it down for us.
Oh, it's this gentleman, Adam, one of the homies. He is 2-5. His season has just not been great. Long story made short, his team was riding with Chuba Hubbard. His brother, of all people, they have a $200 fab. His brother bid over $100 to get Rico Dowdle.
Oh,
Just to make sure he didn't get him.
mm.
So, and he rode him for a couple weeks, and then to make it even worse, he played his brother. What the first week that Rico came in and
Two
had like
weeks ago.
200 yards. Yeah, 2 weeks ago
2 weeks ago.
he played his brother, and Rico just went off, and so, and then you got Derrick Henry who hasn't been doing much. You got T. Higgins and Chase Brown that were in kind of a slump with Browning under center. It just wasn't a good time for Adam. But he's trying to get he said he got to get a win this week, and he said last time we looked at his roster, we gave him the information to get a W. So he said he's gonna send it in again. I'm like, hey, go for it.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't make any changes.
I wouldn't either.
Uh, I mean, again, like we already talked about, Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is going to have a good game versus Dallas. Dallas is their defense gives up a lot of passing yards. Like Dallas has to score a lot of points because they give up a lot of points, right? T. Higgins and so the reason why Chase Brown wasn't doing anything is because Cincinnati couldn't move the ball through the air. So now that everybody knows that Flacco was going to throw the ball to Higgins and Jamar Chase, who both like T. Higgins didn't have the game that Jamar Chase had last week, but he still had a good game and he scored. So, T. Higgins, his value goes back up. I think that 8.7 is this a PPR standard league?
Standard league.
Okay, so 8.7, that's a reasonable amount. I think he's going to exceed that because I mean that's a touchdown and 27 yards. I think T. Higgins hits double digits. Same thing with Chase Brown, a touchdown and 40 yards rushing. That's very reasonable. Derrick Henry's been waiting on Lamar Jackson to get back because again, without Lamar Jackson, your offense is one dimensional. So but now he's gonna have some running lanes. Chicago's defense is no slouch. Like let's not. I'm not saying Chicago's defense is pretty. I think they had 16 fantasy points last week because they were forcing turnovers, right? Dallas is a better team. Um, I'm sorry, I mean Baltimore is a better team with Lamar Jackson. So I think that they don't get a chance to blitz the way they did last week to force those bad throws like they did last week. Um, and Cortland Sutton. I mean, you got a nice stack there with Sutton and Nick. So, um, yeah, I even like the kicker in the defense. Yeah, New England versus Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, I definitely like the New England defense better than the one versus Miami because HA can still score. Miami still has some offensive weapons, so it's a very good chance the ATL might get scored on. But Cleveland, you can put some pressure on them, and you might have a surprise performance by that New England defense. So I think he gets off the schneid this week and gets the W.
He said he's playing the number one team in the league. I hope so.
Yeah, that's why they call it an upset, baby, because it ain't easy to do, but when you can pull it off, it makes it look good. All right. All right. Well, that's our picks and our roster review. Jared, which games you looking forward to this weekend?
Uh, I want to see what happens with Chicago and Baltimore. I want to see with Lamar back. Does Derrick Henry get back to what he's been known to do, or does he have another subpar game and somebody drops him in the league and hopefully I can pick him up? Probably not. That was a conversation I was having before we started with my league. This one chick was mad because Derrick Henry ain't been doing nothing. I'm like, yeah, there's that.
Right. Right.
I want to see that Eagles and Philly game just
Yep.
because I called the Eagles losing that game. I said they were going to overlook the Giants.
We both did.
Yeah,
I said it was a trap game, and I was right.
and I also want to see Dallas and Denver because Dallas is, even though I got somebody who swears I'm a Cowboy hater, I don't hate the Cowboys. I don't like the way Jerry Jones constructs the team, but that's a whole nother conversation for another time. They've been
Right.
they've been looking good against some average at best defenses. Denver, if I'm not mistaken, leads the NFL in sacks.
Man.
And that offensive line in Dallas is a little banged up. I want to see what Dak and the crew do when there's actual pressure.
Indeed. I get that. Uh, to add to the ones that you're talking about, I'm going to throw the other revenge, the quote unquote revenge game opportunity out there. I'm looking at Packers Steelers. Um, I I'm trying to remember. I don't remember how it went when Favre faced Rodgers when he was in Minnesota after the podcast. I mean, I'm gonna go back and take a look at those 2 years worth of games to see how did those regular season games go when you faced off against his replacement. But I'm interested. It's going to be interesting to see uh, how Rodgers responds to his replacement because no matter what he says, right? I know he wants to go out there and show, hey, I still had it in me, and it wasn't time for me to go. So I think he has a good game. I don't think the Steelers will necessarily win that game, but they're going to be at home. It's going to be a lot of high emotion. So it's going to be interesting to see. The game was in Lambeau. I would absolutely give Rodgers and the Steelers the edge. If this guy, and I know it sounds crazy, but if this game was in Lambeau, I would expect a 300-yard, 4 touchdown game from Rodgers if this was in Lambeau. Not saying he can't do that in Pittsburgh, but it's not going to be the same level of juice as it would be for the revenge game if it wasn't actually in front of Packer fans. Because he was in Green Bay, he'd be on some "this is my house" type of stuff.
Yeah.
So, well, all right. Well, in the words of Bon Jovi, we are halfway there on the fantasy season. So as we go into week 8, let's see if you can make some moves and keep your team moving towards the playoffs and that championship. So best of luck to you and all your teams this weekend. Again, shout out to Tennessee State University homecoming. We played Howard, had a lot of people doubting us, specifically Cam Newton's little brother, that is a Howard alum, said that TSU would lose by 17. He was right about somebody losing by 17. He was wrong about who lost. So go Big Blue. All right. Until next time. Peace.